Okay, I'm driving back from the school and driving down the mountain, and I just want to talk to you guys a little bit. How you doing? About success with writing, and let's talk about how many drafts. So I want to tell you a story first. You know, the Beatles, the famous Beatles, especially Paul McCartney and John Lennon, met in 1955 when they were just 15 years old. They wrote music together for about 9 years before they became famous, landing in New York at JFK and then going on the Ed Sullivan Show, right? 1964, Beatlemania. British invasion, right? Well, that wasn't their first gig. And so when you sit down to write a draft, and you're saying to yourself, okay, I have an outline or I don't, and I'm going to write the first draft. That's wrong. That is not your first draft. Your first draft begins when you discuss your topic and possible ideas for how you're going to address your topic, what your thesis might be, and what you might do to defend that thesis in class. You're discussing that with your partner in class. That's your first draft. It's called pre-writing. And pre-writing is thinking, it's talking, it's singing a song about your draft, it's taking a walk and mumbling to yourself what you're going to write about and capturing that somehow, whether it's videotape, that you videotape yourself talking, or you jot down some bullet points because you took this fabulous walk up the hill, and so that's all on day one. Day two, you might be gathering information on index cards, and on day three, you might be arranging those index cards and then talking it through, taking the dog for a walk and talking it through. That's draft number 3. All right, and then you let it sit for a day, and then on day 4, you jot down some of these ideas because you looked at your index cards, you arranged them on the table so you could visually see your ideas. And that, by the time you actually create an outline, that's like a pre-writing, and that's draft number 4, right? And then you write it down very quickly, longhand, on paper or a word processor, and that's draft number 5. So what I'm trying to get at here is, be like Paul McCartney and John Lennon. Don't just expect to land at JFK Airport in New York being all famous because you wrote some songs the previous night or a year earlier. No, Paul McCartney wrote When I'm 64 when he was just 15 years old, and he didn't use it and perfect it until the Beatles were together as the Beatles. See what I'm saying? So you start early, you put in your dues, you take the time, and you visit and revisit ideas over and over and over again. And you say, well, that sounds like a lot of hard work. No, it's not actually a lot of hard work. It's easy work because you're starting early and you're doing a little bit at a time, and it's painless. The painful part is you don't know when you're going to do it. You're not organized. You don't have a planner. You don't know when you're taking those walks. You don't know when you have free time to sit and think about your draft, do you? Do you know what you're doing on Tuesday at 3 o'clock every Tuesday? I'm challenging you because half of the battle in this game of writing is being organized and having the time to be able to do that. And of course, you're going to spend more time on certain days, and of course, you're going to skip Wednesday perhaps or Thursday because you really need to focus on biology or algebra. But then on Thursday, you're going to really roll up your sleeves and put the time that's necessary to really focus on that without distraction, without your cell phone. And then by the time you do your second written draft, it's draft number 5 or draft number 6. And you really haven't worked that hard because you embrace the process of thinking and contemplating things and letting things simmer overnight. It's like cooking a 3-course meal on the slow cooker. I mean, you can sit there over the barbecue the night before and really cook it, or a couple like the night before, you can just throw it in the slow cooker and walk away. And that's how to write. See, the best writing is the easiest writing. The hardest writing is what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is the best writing is the easiest. The hardest writing, the stuff, or the writing that's not very good, is the hardest writing to do, because you're waiting until, if not the last minute, you're waiting until like the middle of the due date. Like if you have a week to do this essay, you're waiting till day number 3 or day number 4 to put everything together. And so I see this work all the time with students where they have really good elements in their writing, however they haven't had any time to proofread. You can tell they haven't really thought through the essay in a way that shows that they care. And a lot of students will say to me, well, because I don't like to write, I don't really care, their attitude. And I understand and I appreciate their honesty, I really do. But it shouldn't be that way, right? You can fall in love with the process of writing, and that's a different video, by the way. I'm going to go off on a tangent here. So basically, just start early and recognize that if you want to have multiple drafts, which you do if you want to have quality, that's how you're going to get quality, is repetition of revisiting the same piece, turning it over again, reconsidering things. That's how you get good writing. And yeah, that's basically it. So happy writing, everyone. And if you look at the description of this video below, you'll have a link to my Facebook group tutoring page, as well as perhaps my email if you have questions and really willing to help, whether it's helping you with tutoring or just answering questions or shooting a short video for you about any given topic related to writing. Take care.